Hey guys, it's me, Gary, here at the Pepsi Cola Theater for Performing Arts in Mitchell, South Dakota, where our area community theater is preparing for their next production, The Legends of Sleepy Hollow. This classic American short tale by Washington Irving has been transformed to the stage, and today we get to talk to two people, James and John, about how they made this happen. Let's see what they have to say. Hey, John. So we're here at the Pepsi Theater, and just kind of doing some interviewing here. We hear that you are one of the playwrights for our next show.
Yeah, for the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That's
Yeah,
right.
cool. And who is your partner with it?
It was originally directed by John Ferguson, and a lot of the work developed out of collaborations in the room. So he would guide the cast, and so a lot of his contributions made it into the script as well.
Awesome, that's really cool. So was it just you who was writing the script, or how did that all kind of come about? Did you just decide, hey, I'm going to write a show, or?
Yeah, I mean, he brought me on. There was a theater company, the John Hassler Theater, that asked John Ferguson to direct a production of Sleepy Hollow for them.
Mm-hmm.
But his focus is in devised work, so he didn't have a script. So he brought me on board as the playwright for that process. And this was our third collaboration together. And we started the process with no text at all. So all we had was the short story, the original Washington Irving short story.
Okay.
Um, and so we had the cast go around and read it. We had a cast of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then John got them on their feet and started doing some improvisations based on it, while I started generating scenes that inspired me from it. And so we worked sort of in tandem, separately but together. And after about 2 weeks, we had the script largely finished and put together. So the improvisations of the cast sometimes informed how the characters were interpreted, or I would have ideas for scenes that I wanted to explore, or folk tales that I wanted to expand, different types of ghost stories. So I was really the playwright in charge of making all the pieces fit together, and for writing all the things down on the page that made it into the play. But the contributions in the room were invaluable as well.
Oh, awesome. So you said this was like your third collaboration. Have you been writing plays and doing stuff a lot before that, or?
I had. It was, I think it was my 10th production, or 10th script that I had written, and my third time working with John Ferguson. So I had done a number of shows at the Minnesota Fringe Festival before that, and then done some original work kind of coming out of that. And had done a few other collaborations with other writers, called London After Midnight, which was a series that was inspired by 19th century penny dreadful stories about London. So they were all
Cool.
gothic horror kind of things. So it was
Cool.
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you said you were in Minnesota. Are you from there, or?
I'm from the Twin Cities. Yeah, I grew up in Richfield, Minnesota, and I've been living in Minneapolis for the last, I don't know, like 15 years or so.
Cool. Um,
Yeah.
so you've written other plays. You talked about being in that Penny Dreadful one. Are there any other ones that really stand out, or ones you're really proud about, or?
Oh God, I love all my children. Um, let's see. My most recent one was a variation on A Midsummer Night's Dream that was set in winter during World War I, but uses
Oh.
the immortal fairy characters, instead dealing with issues of death and rebirth. And it was a winter play instead of a summer play, so it was called A Midwinter Night's Rebel. But I wrote
Nice.
that mostly using Shakespearean rhymed couplets and verse. So it was
Ooh.
a huge effort to pull together that text,
Yeah.
and test the scansion all the time. So that one's one I'm really proud of.
Hmm.
I also wrote a play that's a time travel sci-fi piece called The Transdimensional Couriers Union, which I'm very proud of as well. And that's
Hmm.
been that was done back in 2010, and it involved time travel. So a lot of scenes you would see once, and then you would see them again from a different perspective, and something would be subtly changed. So
Cool.
it was a cool piece.
Yeah, that does
Yeah,
sound cool.
I like writing adventure stories.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So what, we actually had our director reach out to you because he wanted to add a few things. How are you in touch, or how was he able to do that?
That was through Facebook. So
Really?
we had actually had a mutual friend in common,
Hmm.
the choreographer for the show,
Oh
and
yeah.
I had worked together years ago back at Xenon Dance Company.
Oh cool.
And so that was suggested by Devin, and
Hmm.
and that arrangement kind of came through him. And this particular script, because of how it was generated, has a lot of playful elements. And I,
Mhm.
even in this text itself, encourage the casts, whoever's doing it, to come up with their own kinds of embellishments and fun with it. So that seemed really in the spirit of the show.
Yeah, nice. So you're from Minnesota, not too far. If I remember correctly, the Twin Cities are maybe 5, 6 hours away.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. So would we end up being able to see you at the show?
I don't think I'm going to make it out. I'm pretty
Ah.
busy working on. I'm going to be in rehearsals for another show coming up. So
Oh man.
unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out. It sounds awesome, though. I would be curious what you guys do.
Yeah. We've got a really good team that's putting stuff together, so it's gonna be great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, thanks for chatting with us. I appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
so
You have any more questions for me? I'm happy to answer.
All right, we will do. All right. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get a chance to talk to the director, James, here, and I think you see the light on in here, so he's probably working. Oh, hey, James, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. What are you working on right now?
I'm just making a note to myself that I need to do a recording of a skeletal, otherworldly voice to be used in the penultimate scene of the show here.
Nice, really cool.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your kind of history, maybe here at the community theater and what you've done in the past?
Sure. My history here, actually, it kind of goes back to when we were at the State Theater. I was asked by Al Jacklin, who is a veteran of ACT and who is actually playing the role of Baltus Van Tassel in this show. He had asked me to direct a show called The Lion in Winter, and I had just recently directed that at Dakota Wesleyan, and I decided I would give it a run, and so I directed it down there, and then of course the tragic fire happened down there, and so over a period of time this building kind of came into our usage, and just in the last few years, probably the last 3-4 years, I've gotten back into it with ACT, and that was after a very long dry spell for me as an artist for the stage. But in the last 2 or 3 years, 3-4 years, I've been kind of a regular around here, and so that's what brings me in for directing this show, I guess.
Nice. So is there anything else that kind of drew you to Sleepy Hollow in particular?
Yeah, we were looking at the shows that were selected for this year as a board, and I didn't really know if anybody was going to come forward and think that this was a show that would be a decent one for them to do. And I kind of talk about it in my director's notes in the program, but oftentimes the genre of horror can come off as slightly campy or kind of melodramatic. And I just thought I'd rather make sure that we can put together a show that's worthy of what ACT does without having that campiness and so forth. I mean, it's still in there, but it's staged at this point. We're staging the campiness now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, for me, it was more a quality assurance issue than anything. Plus, the horror genre is just one that I've always been a fan of, so wanted to kind of try my hand at it down here since there was an opportunity.
Nice. So we got a chance to talk to the playwright, John Ferguson. Or no, John Heimbuch. There we go. Too many Johns in this one.
That's right.
But he kind of talked about how it all started, and really the whole thing came as a spirit of collaboration. Do you feel you kind of brought that through in this show too, or?
I would say so. Talking with Devin about it when we first got started doing this, Devin was the one that actually introduced me to John Heimbuch, and so I was able to talk with the playwright quite extensively as a result of that previous relationship. But Devin and I, through the course of this show, have worked very closely together. As you were just at one of our production team meetings, I had an entire round table of folks in there, all with ideas and all with certain tasks and roles and responsibilities. And I think that's really important in a show when you have so many different facets, so many different levels. We have actors, we've got tech stuff, we've got choreographed stuff with dancers, we have all of the sound elements. We have, like I said, I was making notes about a recording I have to do for the show here. So there's a lot of hands across the water, so to speak, and everybody's got a job to do, and oftentimes our jobs mingle and mesh, and everybody's doing it with panache. So it's been a fun experience.
Nice. So if there's one thing that you could tell, you know, the people in Mitchell and around here of why they should go to Sleepy Hollow, what would it be?
It's going to be spectacle, largely. Everybody knows the story of Ichabod Crane being chased by the Headless Horseman. Everybody knows that classic Americana story from Washington Irving. And what John has done is he's just basically taken it and he's rehashed it in a way that uses modern language, but it uses mores and ideals from the time period. So you're going to see an updated script. It's going to be Halloween time very soon, so the spectacle is what we're really pushing. Doesn't mean we're trying to get away from story. The story is still central to the whole thing, but the spectacle, the smoke and mirrors, so to speak, the wonderful magic of Halloween basically is what we're putting in there. So.
Nice. That's really cool. Well, I'll get you back to work so you can create that kind of Halloween magic. So.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks, Gary. See ya.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Click the link down below for more information about the show and tickets. See you next time. Bye.